I've been querying agents for a few months, as in a year, with this low fantasy dark academia book that I've had for a while. I started querying because I thought this book had potential for the market, and I keep seeing agents who were, looking for something with horror elements, but also some romance. And this book is basically a romantasy set in a gaslamp world, with a lot of horror aspects, I would say. It's not a straight horror novel, but there are some spooky aspects. Like, it's basically a ghost story, uh, with some of the elements of like classic horror kind of thrown in there. I've not sent very many queries, like less than 20, I think. I've had 2 requests so far. One came back a rejection, but the other one is still out there. Of course, it's been 6 months since that agent requested a full manuscript. Well, the one agent in particular, I queried them in July of last year, okay? July of last year. Months went by. Months. I marked it as a no response because months had gone by. And sometime in November is when I marked it no response. And then in December, the end of December of that same year, I received a full request from that agent. Well, okay, cool. All right, well, I sent it along. I have since stalked this agent on social media. Stalked might be too strong of a word. I will occasionally look them up to see if they have posted anything new. I have not engaged. I'm not that weird. I, I get you have your own stuff going on. It's cool. They seem fantastic, this particular agent. They just seem genuine, and they just seem like they'd be really nice to work with. But I also have seen them sign multiple other authors in this course of time. So, they're building a list, obviously. But I've been waiting for the rejection of my manuscript to come. I've just been waiting. Because, that's what publishing has drilled into my soul these past 10 years, is that you can query and query and query, and you will still get a rejection. You will query. It's been a long day. It's been a long week, okay? You will query agents with that say they want X, Y, and Z, and you have a book with exactly X, Y, and Z in it, and they sound fantastic, exactly what they say they want, and they still reject you. You can work on your writing, and you still get rejected. But thanks to my anxiety, I don't sleep well sometimes. I lay awake and I think about my life and all of the decisions that I have made that have led me to where I am. And I was thinking this past week about my author career, particularly this agent and all the other agents that I've queried with various projects over the years, the past 10 years to be exact, and how in the time that I queried this agent in July of last year, mind you, I could have published the book myself. I could have put it through a developmental editor, done revisions, proofread it, gotten beta readers on it, and published it within the course of a year. I could have done all of that, and yet I am still waiting. That manuscript is still sitting on my computer, waiting for someone to give me the time of day or believe in my writing or my potential as a career client, and yet I keep getting passed up. And it is frustrating. Beyond frustrating, to be honest, because I don't like waiting on someone else to give me the chance to be in front of readers. I can do all of those things myself. I can put my book in front of readers. I can send my book out to, these promotions. I can set the price. I can find someone who will design a beautiful cover. I don't need an agent's permission to do that. And yet, I still have this idea that is just stuck in my head that traditional publishing is this the highest level you can go. That when you are traditionally published, that means you've made it. When you are selected by an agent, that means you are good enough. That means you have made it. And I know that it doesn't. It's getting an agent is not the end all. You've made it. That seems to be from those of us trying to break in. You can get an agent, and that agent could not be able to sell your book to an editor, or it'll die on submission, or your book won't sell very well, and then you get dropped, and then you have to go find a new agent or decide what you want to do. And I've published, as of this year, 13 books. My 14th book is coming out this October, I think we have decided on. And I have self-published by myself, and I am currently with a small press. And I don't like the idea of having to jump through these seemingly nonsensical, almost, political at times, loops just to be considered for a chance to be considered to be on a bookshelf. I could just put my bookshelf. I could just put myself on the bookshelf and cut out the middle person entirely. I know I can do that, and I think that is the frustrating part, that I know that I could have this book published and sitting on my shelf with a beautiful cover by now. And yet here we are. While all these other people, who I'm sure are amazing people, wonderful authors, and have amazing books that I would thoroughly enjoy, who are getting picked first. And I keep seeing, because I will check on Query Tracker, and I will keep seeing, people who have queried the same agent, around the same time, who are getting these form rejections, and yet mine isn't. So I'm like, is mine in, the maybe pile? Or are they just, the agent just going through and, rejecting the ones that they know they won't request anything, and they're just going to, let mine sit for, I'll look at that tomorrow. Because that's something I would definitely do if I was an agent. I don't think I could be an agent. That sounds really stressful. I'm sitting on books that I haven't published but I have books that I am just sitting on because, agents are looking for, adult right now, versus this book that I'm sitting on is more young adult, high fantasy, and nobody's looking for that right now. Because really, when I started out querying, everybody and their sister was writing a young adult fantasy novel, and the market was absolutely flooded. So to get noticed in that high fantasy young adult section, you basically had to write a mega bestseller or something that's just stuck out. And mine were never good enough for that, I guess. Or I think part of my problem is I don't sell my books very well. I had I'm in the process of getting a book edited, or I had gone through Reedsy and I had selected, a handful of editors, and I pitched this project, and one of them came back to me and was like, hey, just looking at the sample, I don't think you need a developmental edit. I think you need more of an editorial assessment. I'm like, no one's really said that to me before, but okay. So they don't know this yet, but I'm probably going to accept them as a editorial assessment, because I really appreciate them actually taking the time to explain this to me. So I just have to go on and accept. But this high fantasy, romantasy trilogy that I've decided that I'm going to work on, I have queried something in the realm of 35, 40, maybe 45 agents over the course of the last 4 years. And of those requests, or those queries that I've sent, I had one full request. One. The rest were either no responses or rejections. I think this manuscript is one of the better ones that I've done. I believe in it fully. But I think there's also it's not a prequel, what's the word I want? Prologue. And I admit that the draft that I sent when I sent out a bunch of those back in 21, there was a lot of info dumping in the first chapter that I have since cut. So I don't know what's happening with that one, but a part of me thinks, because I queried that manuscript before romantasy was a huge thing, and because, the prologue, and, I did a lot of info dumping, but I believe this fully. I believe in the story fully. But clearly, traditional publishing doesn't. So I am going through that process. I will probably just have that one either, work with my small press to get that one out. Eventually, that's the one that I've kind of decided, okay, I'm going to work on this one. This one is going to be my next project that I'm going to focus on. And I understand that at the end of the day, traditional publishing is a business. Their goal, their primary goal, is to make money. Their goal, their purpose is to sell books, as many books, to as many people as possible. And this is why it kind of irritates me when people are like complaining. I saw a TikTok today about this girl. She was complaining about how all these books that are not very well written. I'm like, oh, you're just writing them to make money. Like, yeah, that's what authors do. We like to make money off of our books. And clearly, if people are buying them, there is a market. This girl was clearly not in the market of the books that she was complaining about. Just let people read what they want to read. Let people write what they want to write. Just get out of your lane. Like stay in your lane. That's the what I wanted to say. Stay in your lane. Let people enjoy their lane. Don't complain. Just shush. The goal of publishers is to make money. The goal of agents is to find books that are going to make money because that's how they make their money. And my goal as an author is not to become the next J.K. Rowling or Sarah J. Maas or insert whoever famous author you imagine. My goal is not to, write the next mega bestseller, although that would be nice. My goal as an author is really to, share my stories with people who, like me, are craving that next book high, that book that keeps you up all night, that you can't put down, that you want to go look up fan art for it. The book that distracts you when you're not reading. That kind of book. That is what I chase as a reader. That next book that I just cannot put down. The next book that just puts that fuel into my creative oven and just makes me want to go write. That is what I'm looking for. That just can't put down. But, sure, I would love to be, successful enough to quit my day job and be a full-time writer. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. I would start like a little editing thing on the side. I might even like start my own little press to help other authors like get going. I don't know. Start my own like little publishing boot camp in the summer or something. That'd be fun. Make it camp themed and get t-shirts, whistles, get like little hats, like wear hats, make videos outside or something. I don't know. But more than that, more than to be, massively successful, I just want to get these books out of my head and into the hands of readers who will love them as much as I do. That is my goal. But all of that to say, this kind of that obsessive checking of like Query Tracker in your email to see if you have any requests, it is emotionally draining. And it's just as emotionally draining now as it was with literally it is just as emotionally draining in 2025 on book whatever book this is that I've written, 20, 30, I don't know how many books that I have like sat down and like, written and edited and thought was good enough and put through the ringer trying to find an agent. But it's just as emotionally draining now in 2025 as it was in 2015 is when maybe I started querying in 16. No, I published my first book in like April of 16. April of 16. So then I would have queried at the end of 2020, not 2025, this year. I would have started querying the end of 2015, 10 years ago. So it is just as emotionally draining now as it was 10 years ago. That's a much better way to say, that's a much better way to say that. And I don't understand why I keep doing this to myself, why I keep thinking like, oh, I'll just go find an agent, like, or I could just self-publish it and get it directly into the hands of readers, make the full royalty, and just cut the middleman out because I don't feel like they're necessary anymore. However, I also feel that everyone and their sister wants to write a book, and there's so many books out there. And being able to say like, oh yes, I'm traditionally published is a kind of a way to set you apart. It gives you that boost of authority I guess, over others. Like reader readers might take you more seriously if they find you on the shelf in Barnes and Noble. But at the same time, there are readers who don't know what to look for and they don't really care. So I probably shouldn't care, but I do. I don't know. That's just kind of what I have been thinking about this week. And I haven't queried anyone else after like that first handful of agents. I think, no, hold on. I did send out like 3 last week. As of this morning, they were 19 days old, the queries. So I don't know how that'll go. It'll probably be rejections, all of them, because that's just how my life goes. When I queried Thief in the Castle, it all came back rejections, except for the small press that I am currently with. And as of this morning, yesterday morning, Wednesday? One day this week I looked. I had 261 Amazon reviews with a average 4.5 rating. So I think that's pretty good. If 261 people minus the 1 2-star review that says that this book is good enough. And who knows what the 2-star review is about. It's probably somebody that, oh, hey, this book is free. Oh, hey, I don't like this genre. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. I don't really care. So those are my thoughts on, me trying to get this book into the hands of agents, me going through this querying process again. I said it was as emotionally draining as it was in 15, but I rescind that statement because it is not nearly as devastating to get a rejection because I expect the rejection. And so when I get the rejection and I was like, well, rejection. Oh, okay, cool. And I just kind of move on and I don't think about it again. I don't, write that agent off as like, I'm never querying you again. Meh. I don't know. It just wasn't their fit. There's, multiple reasons why agents still reject things and it's not ever personal. So it's like, I'm not taking it personally because I know this story is good. I believe in my stories. I believe in my writing. It's much better than it was. Every book that I write is better than the one that came before it. I haven't lost hope either way if this book gets picked up by traditional publishing. If it doesn't, it's going to be published one way or another. That I know for a fact. So I'm not stressing. I think I just had a thought. I'm very organized with these. Remember when I said I was like, I'm going to try to be more organized? That didn't last very long. I think a part of my desire to be traditionally published comes from me not wanting to do everything on my own. I don't want to have to go find an editor and hope that they're good. I don't want to have to go find a cover designer and hope they don't use AI images. I want to go, find my book in Barnes and Noble and not have them laugh at me when I say, "Oh no, I'm self-published," and they're just kind of, "Of course you are." You guys have that experience. I've had that experience several times. It's why there was a indie bookstore in my hometown, and I walked in with my book and I handed it, the free book. I'm like, "Here, this is my book. Blah blah blah. I'm a local author." And the owner was like, "Yeah, okay." While she was, smoking her cigarette on the patio, I was like, "Really? Like, at least pretend like you care." And I went in there several times and my book never appeared on their shelves. And so I was not overly upset or concerned when that bookstore closed. I'm like, yeah, maybe you should have treated your local authors better. There's another bookstore that I have not yet gone to because they're open the same hours that we're open. So like 8 to 5. I'm like, I would love to, like, if I've had a stressful day, go buy a book. I stress buy books all the time, but I can't because they also close at 5. I'm like, whose decision was that? It was a poor decision on their part. They should be open at least until like 7, so I can, stress my books after work. But no, that is my author update. What do I call this? Writer Wednesdays is Wednesday. Today's not Wednesday, but I don't think you'll care that it's not actually Wednesday. Do you notice anything? I did upgrade my microphone, and it's not sitting on my desk right now. I didn't get one of the fancy ones that are like, stand up. No, I got one that's currently sitting on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books. There is a stack of 5 books sitting in front of me so that you can see the microphone. I don't know why I thought you needed to see it, but I don't know. I think it looks don't know, I guess it just kind of looks cool when like you can see like the microphone in the bottom. I don't know. I don't know why. I just do.